My name is Scott Lewis, and I will be doing my presentation on Herman Melville. Herman Melville, an American author, was born on August 1, 1819 in New York City. Shortly after Melville's birth, his family went bankrupt. When he reached adulthood, he was married to Elizabeth Shaw. Before becoming an author, Melville experimented as a teacher and a sailor. After his death on September 28 of 1891, Melville became heralded as one of America's greatest authors. Melville wrote several major books in his lifetime. Typee of 1846 is about two men who attempt to survive on an island inhabited by cannibals. Mardi, written in 1849, is a story of a man who is lost at sea and falls in love with a girl who lived on one of the islands. White Jacket, or The World and a Man of War, speaks of a sailor's adventures at sea. Moby Dick, or The Whale in 1851, is a classic tale of a ship on a mission to rid the seas of a white whale nicknamed Moby Dick. A famous quote of Melville's is, "To the last I grapple with thee, from hell's heart I stab at thee, for hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee." Captain Ahab, Moby Dick. Melville lived in the national expansion and reform era from 1815 to 1860. The presidents in power during this era were from James Monroe to Millard Fillmore. This era hosted many famous events, such as the Era of Good Feelings, the Industrial Revolution, and the Mexican-American War. Melville's stories reflect the era that he lived in to perfection. Many of Melville's stories are based off his personal experiences as a sailor. His tales were stocked with adventure and the exploration of the unknown, as well as a sense of self-discovery along the way. These themes appear to have represented the personality of his era. There are several major historical events that can be linked to the author's work. The Gold Rush may have encouraged the theme of exploration and adventure. The Manifest Destiny played a role in the theme of going into the unknown. Lastly, the Second Great Awakening contributed to the idea of changing your ways and discovering yourself. Melville's works combine stories of fascinating adventure with many different American themes, such as religion versus science, human limitations, emerging technology, and truth versus American myth. Also, many of his books and poems are full of metaphors and allegories, as well as variations between cynical and satirical works. Several years after his death in 1891, Melville's works began to gain popularity. With his ability to combine universal significance and literary complexity, Melville is now considered one of the greatest writers in U.S. history. His book, Moby Dick, although unpopular during his lifetime, is now considered a literary masterpiece. Today, his books are considered a staple of reading curriculum in many high schools. There are several interesting facts about Herman Melville. A short episode of scarlet fever in Melville's childhood caused partial blindness. The Library of Congress also honored Melville as its first writer to be collected and published.